caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Calderese is the caltrop.
Coming down the mountain from the heaven to the hell, the Mike Calderese, the caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Calderese, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the caltrop. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the caltrop. And we don't mind and we don't care, Mike Calderese is the caltrop.
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop, a special Friday night edition, a fun Friday night edition of the Caltrop. And you know what I am here, guys. We are your defense mechanism. We always aim to be your defense mechanism. And how else can you defend your own self? How else can you defend your own mind? By having the truth, but also by having a real in-depth conversation. Now, we had politicians call for a conversation. And I called them out on calling for a conversation. I said, I'll have this conversation. And guess what? The politicians didn't want to have a conversation with me. Too bad a lot of them said no. But tonight we have three special guests, right? We have obviously Jenna Glrza. She's sitting next to me. This is the one I'm looking at. We have Mr. Fitnick and Conservative Willy going to be coming in a second. But we're going to start this show off like this. We have breaking news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in an amazing turn of Christian hate, Jackson, New Jersey strikes again. A cross has been toppled on a roadside memorial for a Jackson teen vandalized in an incredible act of hate happened again in Jackson, New Jersey. And here to discuss it, we have Jenna Glrza, Conservative Willy, and Mr. Fitnick. You like how I presented that? Because guys, it was not presented as a hate crime for picking up a cross and throwing it off and vandalizing a memorial site. And I'm going to I want to do a couple quick comments on that because unlike other people, I don't want to use the tragedy like that. Right. You know, we're not going to we'll let a good tragedy go to waste, and we're not going to try to criticize it. Absolutely. I did that for making a joke. But what do you guys think of that, Conservative Willy, Mr. Fitnick?
What's new? What do I think about it? I think it's just typical of the environment that you guys are living up there in New Jersey, and it's a one-sided tell-all with the news stations and the media up there, for sure.
For sure. You know, Jenna, what do you think?
It's pretty rich coming from a group of people that, you know, went through what they went through, so...
You know, it's funny because we don't know who did it, so I don't want to jump to people. You know what I'm saying? We have no idea who did it yet because right now there's a couple people out there praying for flock cameras. Like if we had flock cameras, we know who created this cross. And I'm like, I still don't want flock cameras. But what do you think, Jenna? What are your thoughts on this? Because you're mixed into it right now.
Yeah, it's really an unfortunate situation that happened with the cross. It's just ironic. It's a bit ironic, you know, the fact that we don't hear about this. We don't hear about the fact that it could have been vandalization towards a religion. We don't know. We'll never know because it doesn't fit the narrative. It's just not.
But that conclusion wasn't jumped into, right?
That
conclusion wasn't jumped into, guys, you know, and this is what, you know, this is kind of what I want to start off with because let's assume, because they assumed the one was, a complete hate incident. And I get it. There was written words on the thing, but if it turns out to be kids, is it really hate? Like, we're like, are they terrorists? Are we intimidated? Did it cause intimidation or any of that? The whole story sounds crazy to me, but you were to say something.
I don't think it's the hate is the issue right here. I think the question is why? Why is this happening to the school? And why did it happen in Manchester? Why are these kids acting out? That's the question. Because adults could do this too, right?
Right.
But the kids are doing this. So what do you think, Jenna?
Well, first of all, it's, this was advertised and sensationalized as a Jewish school. Okay. It barely changed hands. There is nothing on this school to indicate that anybody Jewish is going to be studying there. Right. So let's just get that straight. Second of all, you're dealing with a group of children that have literally had every facet of their life taken away from them. And nobody seems to recognize that.
No, it's crazy.
They are frustrated. They are so tired of just losing their friends, their schools. Burger King is Bagel King. Now we found out that it's right next. The McDonald's that is right next to the high school. How many kids frequent that McDonald's? It's gone. It's going. Right. So you lost Surf Taco. You lost the hibachi place. You got the Bagel King now. You have Rita's that is kosher and it's not open on Friday nights or Saturdays. Right. We no longer have Stop and Shop. So you have these children that are seeing, and it's been going on for 20 years now. Right. So they saw their friends leave, their teachers leave,
their communities disappearing,
completely being dismantled, and nobody is recognizing it. We always want to say about the kids with COVID, the kids were affected by COVID. These are COVID kids. What are these kids? These kids are just, they have been, if it's an experiment, it's a disgusting experiment because they are literally being thrown aside. They're not allowed to complain about it. They're not allowed to say anything about it. Do you blame them at some point for being able to express themselves? I mean, listen, they don't have bombs strapped on them. They're not running in these yeshivas. They're not doing anything like that. They are not violent kids. But at some point, does anybody recognize the mental health and the mental status of these kids?
No, and nobody gives a shit about them. Here's the problem I have with this entire thing. It's the way we have taken an event that, it was known that these were kids for a couple of days now before even the reporting, from what I'm understanding. Okay. So when the reporting finally came out with it, they knew this was, they all saw this video that was given to the media clearly. Okay. Because they took pictures of it and they showed you. So they saw this video, and what they chose to do is exploit a bunch of children. We want to ask why. I have a question for all you guys. Okay. I have a question for the entire, and I'm going to try something new on the show. So you're going to have to bear with me for a second. But you guys want to know why. We're going to get back to this conversation in a second. I want to know why this happened, okay? Let's just say I'm going to play a scenario for you. I made up my own scenario in studio, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I would have done had I been somebody who walked in and saw writing on a chalkboard, okay? And this is what I want to know. Why are we politicizing writing on the chalkboard when it's something that it's this easily taken care of? So this is my stage, right? This is my example. Let's bring it on up.
All right,
so
is that there forever?
This is the interactive thing, right? This is going to come out. This is the interactive part of the show. Okay, guys? This is my hate wall. You see, we have all of the hate words on there. We even have the N-word. See, we have the N-word. We have WAP, we have spick and scan, we have
got every group
we got
there.
Charge, we got all of them on there, okay? Now, I'm a person. I walk in, I go, oh, my God.
Can't hear you.
Who did this? How dare these kids do this horrible, horrible thing? And then I spray it down, right? And I wave it. And
Now it's not national
holy
news, though.
shit. It's gone. And then nobody's offended. And then, all of a sudden, it's no longer hate because it's just chalk, right? So now I'm gonna walk this thing back over here.
Look at his shirt. You see his shirt?
I want to leave it now. So, all right,
You have
guys.
to say all that again. We couldn't hear you.
How difficult was that to take care of? Oh my God, it is chalk.
Well, the problem is that no other group is going to benefit financially from you erasing that.
What do you mean benefit?
So I'll tell you guys a story. So when I was in high school, I played football for Burke Memorial High School.
1800s.
It's 1800s, 1997. I remember what was going on in Lakewood, and I specifically remember telling saying something to my teachers because I had friends that were in Lakewood because I played football with them, and I knew them, and we associated, and then they moved away, and I remember saying to my teachers, "Why is everybody allowing this to happen to drive this culture out of Lakewood?" You know what I was told? Shut up, mind your business. They need a place to live too. I wonder how those teachers that told me that think now.
You gotta be a good boy. Good goy boy.
Good goy boy,
Yeah,
right?
you gotta be good.
You know,
Hey, I am the Goyim spokesperson.
I know. Let's see.
You know, one of these politicians said, "Who made you the Goyim spokesperson?" We're gonna get to him in a minute. And I was like, Tyler Oliveira, motherfucker, you didn't see the bottom of it. It said Goyim spokesperson. Mike Caldery's Goyim spokesperson. And if he gives you a title,
you got to take
that's it, man. That's what it is.
You
So,
gotta take it.
what do you think, Jenna? What do you think about let's finish my question. Why are adults so eager to use kids in certain situations to frame an entire town a certain way, or to frame even an event in a way where I think we're overblowing it?
Well, because to them it's going to reflect badly on the parents, right? So when you looked at everything online, all you saw was they're being taught hate. It's the parents. And that's when I kind of reached out and said, listen, we really have to talk about what's happening to these kids, because nobody is teaching them hate. My kids grew up around it. For 20 years, they grew up around it. I was the one who tried to start this whole spearhead this thing because of the way my children were being treated, right? Taking them to the parks, having them being shunned. I was part of that. And, you know, it's so much easier to blame it on the kids and say that the parents did it to the kids. Again, while nobody's really understanding what is the mental health of these kids, they are literally losing everything, right? You and I, we'd have a hometown to go back to for reunions, right? These kids are never going to have that. They are never going to have a hometown to go back to. And that's disgusting. That's sad. And when you think about, you know, when I talked about the public school system on Nick's show, does everybody understand the impact that's happening right now? We have a public school being sold. And let's talk about
At a discount.
At a discount.
At a giant
and that's what
discount.
I wanted to get to.
$15 million discount.
I wanted to get to the discount, okay? Because it just goes to show you how these people don't care about our community. They see that we're losing programs. They see that we're losing funding. I have the receipts. I have the numbers. And 10 years ago, our our aid in lieu was in the 100,000s. Now it's $8 million, right? Our public our transportation that we're paying in the school system was, I think, half of what it is now. It's actually more than doubled now. So we're up to like 22.
It went crazy since like 2017. And we're talking in the millions of dollars.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. So we're losing money busing students that don't go to our schools, that aren't learning our curriculum. They come in, they buy the school at a discount. They can't even throw us a bone.
Yeah, but is there actual kids that are learning in this school that they're going to buy?
That's my point. It is not going to children. It is going to the BMG, which is the biggest yeshiva outside of Israel. So that school that used to be a public school, that was our kids' stomping ground, that they would go to for concerts and, you know, plays and everything like that, is gone. They couldn't even throw us a fucking bone and say, you know what, we'll give you full price. Maybe put that towards your kids' extracurricular activities that they're losing because you're paying for our busing. Put that towards something that we are taking from your children. And
yeah, and the busing argument is like, well, we pay tax dollars, but you know, shouldn't we get something for our tax dollars? And you know, the problem with that thought process is everything's tripled, right, or quadrupled in some cases with the amount of family size. So you know, if you have one or two kids, what it costs to bus your family is way less than that. I mean, look at the yeshiva kids in what you call it in Lakewood. It's in the 50,000 that they're busing versus 5,000. You know, for the regular.
And you're busing them to 150 schools.
Yeah, and it's different schooling. It's everywhere.
It's not a hub.
Yep.
They're not, and there are crazy. Zero bones are being thrown in our direction.
Yeah. So guys, what's your take on this, man, about the kids right now? Hey. You asked that question. Why are the kids do you think they're being taught hate, or do you think they're being learning it?
They're not being taught this. They're learning it because they're tired. My generation and younger are tired. Okay. And you can't shut us the fuck up. And I think people are starting to realize that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like election cycle is going to be the biggest turnout for the younger generation because we simply can't afford anything. You can't afford to live. You can't afford to buy a car. All of our tax dollars are going to people that don't need it or don't deserve it because they're not paying back into the system that they're robbing.
And that's all it is. They're just robbing. And you know, I try to tell people this all the time. You know, everybody's like, oh, they offered me money. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. All right. What happens when there's no kids left in the school, right? We watched it happen in Lakewood. It's going to happen in Jackson. And people just assume that these kids are fucking idiots. These kids have the internet too. These kids see what's going on. Most of their parents' heads are buried in the sand and are just like, oh, it's cool, it's cool. I got new Jewish neighbors here, 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 here. But those kids aren't playing football with our kids. Those kids aren't playing with our kids. They're not doing activities with our kids. These kids see that shit. And it's starting to piss them off that they're acting out. But why are they acting out? That's the issue. Is like, you know, when the youth starts to revolt, it's probably a bad sign.
No, and I get that, but what's the I want to know, like, if we're going to ask why. This is the divide that I have, and I want to know how it got to this point. Because Jenna, you're about my age, Nick, you're about my age, Conservative Will, you're younger. So I want to talk to you two right now specifically because I want to see where it happened, right? Because I get what you're saying, Willie, and it's crazy because I never deemed myself white, you know what I'm saying? I was always Italian. I was 100% Italian, you know what I'm saying? It was like, no fucking way, I have no Irish, I am 100%. We just knew it back in the day. We weren't white. And then somewhere along the lines, like, you tell me, Fit Nick, in Bricktown growing up, you went to Memorial, right? So we were with every walk of life. Even Monsignor Donovan, I had, Spanish kids, black kids.
Right. So I remember my 8th grade going into my freshman year. You know, Brick Memorial was a predominantly white school, and yes, we had years. I walked. Am I back? So over the next 4 years in high school, you know, we were getting more of an influx of black kids, which is not the big deal. But where the fuck was I going with this?
I don't know, where are we going?
You were getting.
What is it now? What do the schools look like?
So I was going with this. So, you know, as the kids got pushed out of Lakewood, they got pushed in the Sawmill. And we all got along in high school. We all played football together. We all hung out together. And we knew back then that this was happening, Mike.
Yeah, we
did.
Yeah,
you know, it was like, you know, Bricktown used to be, it was predominantly white with a sprinkle of black, sprinkle of Spanish, and everybody got along. It's not like that now, for sure. You know, it's all the surrounding towns.
So where did it go wrong, Nick? Like, so this is what.
Where did it go wrong? Here's where it went wrong.
Switch it. And where do you, I want Willie's take on this as well when you say it, but where did it start switching? About what fucking years? Because I want to merge this on what our kids are going through, because I didn't go through the shit that Conservative Willie went through.
So it was 1994 when it started to show in our school systems in Bricktown, where they started pushing out the lower class in Lakewood, and a lot has to do with. If you guys don't know, New Jersey made a law. Basically, every town has to have low-income housing. Why do you think that law got passed? They knew this was going to happen. They knew that the people of Lakewood were going to end up moving out, and they needed somewhere for them to live. Well, what better way to get them out of Lakewood and push them on other towns? So every town now has to have low-income, low housing. And I think that's what, you know, it's starting to affect every other neighborhood around there. And it's slowly starting to push regular middle class out of their homes. He dealt with it. Matter of fact, what we're talking about tonight, we're in Florida. That was on our news in Florida. That's how spread across the country.
New Jersey, that chalkboard incident was on your news in Florida?
Yeah.
And this is the point. Now let me ask you a question. Did you guys get the idea that they were trying to label all of Jackson, New Jersey as an anti-Semitic town?
100%.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. Like, you only push an hour. Like, that's the problem with mainstream
media. Yeah, but why is the mainstream media only touching that? They're not covering everything else that's going on.
Do you remember a few years back, I don't know how long ago, maybe 5 years ago, there was, they claimed that there was a swastika drawn in the sand at the playground. And it turns out it wasn't. It was like a couple sticks. Whatever they could do to push this narrative, it's victimhood. It's
Go into any shitty gas station or porta potty and you're going to see one.
right.
You know what I'm saying? They're everywhere. It's been around for since I was young, since like I was in high school. I've seen this shit.
Yeah, it's the Bubba Wallace fucking garage door noose.
Dude.
It's like, oh my God, that's a noose. No, it's a fucking handle, you jerk off. You know, everybody has, so you can pull these things up and down.
Yeah,
Stop it.
It's a lot of it boils down to funding. You know, every time you report something as a hate crime, it brings more funding.
Yep.
Not only does it bring them more funding, but then it's going to bring in the Shamram, right? It's going to bring in the extra police force because, hey, they're going to need.
Just like COVID. You died of COVID. The hospital got more money.
Right. You know what? And you know what? If you research, and I do a lot of my research, more than 50% of the hate crimes that are reported by the Orthodox community, the Hasidic community, the Jew they're unfounded. There's nothing to them. Right?
And I mean, that's a great point because you are. I mean, and that's the thing. This is the reason why I always ask this question: who stands to benefit from it? It's what I was asking on Wednesday night. If you really look at this story, who is going to benefit from this type of stuff? They're going to be able. BMG is going to, of course.
Security,
of course, Avi Schnall is going to. He's going to be putting in another. What do you want to call it? He's going to be putting in another bill and get a special bill for everybody that only one group of people are going to use. You want to hear something funny, guys? Let's do this really fast. Right? Check this out. Ready? So Avi Schnall called for a conversation. I was able to get his phone number today, and I sent him these text messages. Say, good morning, Assemblyman. My name is Mike Calders. I run the Brick Breakdown. Basically, I'm inviting him to come onto the show, okay? And it was basically like, you called for a discussion. I'd like to have this discussion with you. This is his response. Good morning, Mike. I'm not sure what you're referring to when you say that I called for a conversation or what situation in Brick Township you're referring to. Either way, I'm going to politely decline your request to join your show. So this guy's acting like he doesn't know who the fuck I am, right?
Well, that's because they don't want to talk about it because they know that whenever they talk about it, it never works out for them, Mike. It's even on the national level.
Oh,
right?
Well,
yes. They want to have a conversation and it never works out for them because our point is just proven by them.
Mm. But you see, listen, I want you, like, if you listen, I read that because I want you to listen to the tone. The tone was like, basically like, who is this guy? Like, who are you?
Yeah. Right.
Rick, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? I have no idea who you are. So I clarified. I was talking about your statement on the Jackson situation. Your quote was, it should lead to a discussion on the increasing hostile political climate for Orthodox Jewish residents. If you want to have that discussion, in reality, I could represent the non-Jewish community. You could represent the Jewish community. Let's have a real honest discussion and hopefully some solutions. I hope you were serious about having this discussion. I am, right? And it went on just a little bit more, right? You ready for his answer? No, before I give you his answer, Jenna, how do you think he's going to respond to that, to me saying that? What do you think? Let's play a game.
He's pretty much just going to deny and deflect, right?
Deny and deflect. What do you think, Mr. Fitnick?
I think the same thing. I think he's going to deny and deflect and basically, decline the offer.
Well, let's talk about the fact that how long have you been asking him to come on your show?
All of them. I've been asking him for over a year.
Exactly. So I saw a little comment on your post earlier that was like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do it on the fucking weekend. I'm like, dude, he's been asking him to come on his show forever.
I even said in one of those text messages, I can accommodate every single second. Anytime you want, I'll do it and we can pre-record it. This was his answer. Who appointed you the representative of the I was elected to represent the 30th district, receiving 88.1375% of the vote in Lakewood. I added the 1375. As far as I know, no one in Jackson Township elected you to represent them. Why would I have a conversation with this self-appointed representative from Brick Township about Jackson elected officials? Doesn't make much sense.
It's easy to fucking win when everyone in your town is you. Of course you're going to have an overwhelming...
See, I don't think people understand that the reason why the New Jersey government is the way it is because the rabbi tells the entire town to go vote for one person. And because we don't vote, as a middle class people, we don't get a say. And that's going on. It's not just Lakewood, right? It's happening in New York, the East Coast of Florida. It happens everywhere. And then what happens is you got nobody in office to represent your people because they have their people representing them.
He's clearly, he clearly doesn't care about us. So it goes on. So I sent him this because I have the platform, and I'm the only one speaking honestly about this situation. Your attempt to diminish my role is telling that you're not really interested in the discussion. You want to be in a political echo chamber. How about this? I declared myself the spokesperson, and I'm volunteer to have that discussion with you, politely and honestly. As to your question, why would you do it? To build an understanding, to calm tensions, to stop hate, and to build a community together. One community. That's why, like it or not, I have the ears of this county, and you know it. Oh, one last thing. The people who followed me declared me their spokesperson. All right.
I love that he brought receipts.
Yeah, but Mike,
There's this.
you should be well.
You should be well. I am well. I am well.
But Mike, that goes on to with the thing where they don't want to assimilate with us. They don't want to be part of our communities. They want to drive you guys out of your communities and take over your communities. Now, for example, the Pine Barrens is vast. They can go out there and start a whole new community of just them, but they would have to build the infrastructure. Why would they do that when they have the money and they could just buy you out of your homes and your neighbors' homes and the infrastructure's already there?
Ain't nothing better than a $10.8 million Section 8 house.
Dude, like Avi Schnall, he's the one that pushes for that stuff. And it finished up with this. I said, thank you for this. I'll try one more time. How about this? You have a conversation with Chris Pollock. I'll host it and Morty can moderate. Or is he not elected enough for you, right? So he sent me this. Chris is more than welcome to reach out to me. He knows how to get in touch. Not on your show. If he wants to talk, let him pick up the phone. Adults don't need their conversations moderated.
How about this? How about you set up a debate, Mike?
Bring him on our show.
And me and Colton will moderate.
We talk to everyone.
We talk to everybody. Yeah, so.
And then to final up with this. This is his last words to me. Oh, now you're trying to have a conversation after years of slander? Now this motherfucker knows exactly who I am. It's hysterical. Now you decide you want a conversation. You should have done this from the beginning. I did.
You did.
Right, let's do it again. Now you just want clicks and a way to promote your show. I'm not going to be used to promote your content. Nice try, though. Be well.
That just goes, they don't want to have a discussion.
Yeah,
right? They have an agenda. They know that the politicians are scared shitless of speaking up about them because they won't get voted in. It's political suicide in New Jersey. And, when I was on your show last time, I brought this topic up too, Mike. In New Jersey, I don't necessarily know that there is a fight to be had anymore because the people of New Jersey won't go out and vote. And their community will go out and vote. So they'll always get who they want in office.
They can afford the gas to vote.
It's tough, but we have to do it locally. I'm telling you, you can still have wins locally. That's
what we're doing down in Florida. We're hitting the local area. We're pushing local people. We're pushing grassroots people that lived in the community and run. Hence why I said you should run for mayor. And I, me and Colton will back you. And once that gets going, we're going to be
Jenna's take.
Yeah, go ahead, Jenna.
Go ahead, Jenna.
No, just my point is we don't have anybody to run. That's the problem. We don't have.
Why don't you run, Jenna?
Up against this. That's a little crazy.
We have a lot of people. You know what will happen? It's like this, right? As soon as I started getting a lot of recognition, now I have some jerk off digging into my background. He's like, I'm gonna find everything in your past. I'm like, have fun, man. You're gonna have fun digging. And he's like, the authorities have been notified about something in college.
No.
Oh yeah, I swear to God, it's like, oh man, you did something in college. I'll tell you what I did in college. I got kicked out of college because I was a tough guy. Dragged some kid out of his room, I smacked him around and got an assault charge. And was politely asked to leave Mount St. Mary's University. Dude, I was like the tough guy. We were fucking back then in college.
They came after me because one time on social media, I made a comment about how high taxes were. And I said, you know what? Whatever you do, try to work off the books, try to keep the money out of their hands. And then they came after me. They were reporting me to the IRS for that.
Yeah.
I bet they would have a heyday if they dug into their records. But they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that. And this is my point. Like, and I try to get in touch with Paul Kenitris, but he won't talk to me because he knows what I'm going to bring up and he won't talk about it. See, down in Florida, we're not dealing with the situation you guys are dealing with. We're dealing with the builders. So our county commissioners are all builders and lawyers, and me and Colton have been running the circuit down here in Southwest Florida, pushing all these grassroots people, trying to get the builders out. The problem is, though, is we can talk about the builders, and the other candidates can talk about the builders. The problem in New Jersey is you can't talk about the people taking over New Jersey. And that's what's going on. And it's all over Jersey, right? You have Lakewood, then you have Little Palestine, then you have the different Middle Eastern groups all over Jersey, and they're milking the system. So you guys have a hard time living. And the migrants, the chaos up there is mind boggling to me. But
do you think the political chaos is a leading factor to hate? Because, the whole point of this show is, why are our kids hating? Why do they put so much hate? Why is it all about hate? Because I don't feel very hateful. I don't hate anybody or any group, right? But why is that spreading, right? Conservative Willy, you said something about the kids. The kids are just sick and tired. Why don't we, like, as adults, and I want Willy to give me your perspective just as a kid on what you see, growing up, what the conditions were like, racial conditions are like. But I want us to kind of discuss, like, what do you think these Ocean County kids are really watching? You touched on it early, but let's hit on some of the things that they have actually been through. And, like, let me make something very clear, right? Does anybody condone vandalism?
No.
Like, do you?
No,
like, I'm not defending these kids and vandalism.
No, I'm not defending them.
It's stupid.
But this is a stupid thing kids do. I'm not going to overreact to it, and I'm not going to.
This has been around forever.
Exactly.
Right.
So why don't you shoot with that, Conservative Willy?
I don't even consider it hate. I just think they're tired,
Right.
and they're not being heard.
Right.
And when you're not being heard, you do drastic things to be seen.
They are in self-preservation mode at this point.
Definitely, 100%.
What do these kids have to lose? They've lost it all. Think about that.
What are they going to get kicked out of school that isn't there?
Their schools got combined, right? There was a rivalry always between the two schools. Now there's issues. Most of their friends are gone because, let's face it, most of the quality in Jackson is gone. They sold the $1 million homes. They sold. They ran because they could afford to go somewhere else.
See,
right?
and I want to say a huge problem that you guys are having in New Jersey is the loopholes. The loopholes that they have used, and unfortunately, a lot of it is legal because they have voted and they have taken over. And this is why you guys are having the issue that you're having. And it's because people, like you say, do not vote, do not go out and speak their mind. But the sad part is, even when we were there, people wouldn't even talk to us because they didn't want to lose their job. They didn't want to lose their social media. They didn't want to be seen on camera. And I'm like, that's fucked up. Like, we live in America. You should be able to voice your opinion without the hate.
So, Mike, that video with the kids in it, to me, it looked like it wasn't just one type of kid.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't look like a bunch of white kids. Right?
Yes.
It didn't look like a bunch of black kids. It didn't look like a bunch of Muslim kids. It looked like a bunch of mixed kids that were acting out what kids do. Because, again, Jenna, like Jenna said, like, they're losing everything. Now, I grew up, and we grew up in Bricktown. We had the whole community. We had football teams. We had rivalries. Brick Memorial. They don't have that anymore. They're losing their friends. They're losing their family. They're losing their stores. They're losing their sports. They're losing, their parents are fucking not home because both parents are working. So, what do you want these kids to do? Go protest?
I mean,
are we going to listen to a bunch of kids protesting?
No, and
that's going to be on news.
I've been to a lot of different places, right? And one of the things I know, like when I visit my wife's family, for example, a place in North Carolina, a place in West Virginia, you have some of these small towns that have nothing, right? There's nothing. Kids really have no direction, no ambition. We have nothing to do, nothing to keep their minds busy, karate and all this other stupid shit, football. And those type of kids tend to wander, and they tend to get into bad stuff, and they tend to get into bad behavior and do stupid things, drugs and theft and just stupid kid shit, right? We used to steal condoms when I was like 14 years old because I didn't want to buy it at 15. I'm no bullshit. I used to fucking steal condoms. But this is what this is what kids that have no direction are doing. And you're right. I mean, when you lose, think about it. You know, Jackson had the skating rink. I don't know if it's still there.
Wow.
That might be still there. But when you look at what Jackson had, it was geared. You had a lot of schools. Your baseball teams. When my son played in Little League, that Jackson team was ridiculous. That went to the Little World Series.
Yeah, they had a great football team in '97.
We used to have 2 leagues.
Now
We have
exactly.
one
Now you have
league.
one.
You know, it's just every facet. When you go to the library, there's other people there, right? There's people there that don't recognize you. And that's the biggest problem. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about the fact that you might go out in your neighborhood and you might throw a football with new neighbors or kids that you never met before. They're not throwing footballs with our kids. They're not talking to our kids. They are not engaging with our kids. Our kids are aliens. Our kids are not even welcome in their own
In their hometown.
Right. And that's what's happening. And like I say, these
And
kids
do you
are
think that-
self-preservation mode.
Do you, and you think, you know, because once again, man, I look at this as a lot of learned behavior. I'm not going to like my daughter, for example, she works at a shoe store in Brick. Okay. And she comes home and this is her very first experience working a job. And she goes, I don't know what's with those Jewish people. And I was like, what do you mean? And she comes home and it's like, and this was when she first, and you could see it was like building up to say something.
Yeah.
She goes, it's just, they are the rudest people every time, no matter what, they want you to do everything for them. It has to be now, or they're really getting nasty with you. They're just, and I'm being serious. And this is what my daughter has said. Now I got to tell you something. I don't teach my kids hate. I teach my kids to, if you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't give a shit who you are. There's bad in every single group of people. I don't care. Good and bad, every single group. We live in diversity on my street. I've talked about it before. My daughter, when she has friends over, we have a couple of lesbian girls that come over here. We have a little Spanish girls, black girls. It's the whole mix is with these girls, right? So, but she noticed it. It's something that builds up in her. So now just from that experience and the repeated same exact experience, you build up a situation where like, oh, here comes another one of these assholes. Right. And then it almost seems like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because there's a lot of them that are really nice. And when you do run into them, it's almost like you're going to be a jerk off because the last 10 were.
Why do you think the news covers it the way they cover it? People don't like these kids. They see the news. They see what's going on. We've all been kids. Our brains aren't all the way developed. And now, unfortunately, they did something stupid and they got to deal with it. And hopefully it doesn't label them for the rest of their lives. But they see the news. They see what they're pushing. This isn't the early 2000s and 90s. These kids see through the bullshit. And they're doing what they can do. They're expressing themselves the best that they can, unfortunately, and they feel like their voices aren't being heard for sure. Hence why you got guys like Nick Fuentes on the rise, and you got all these other influencers on the rise that are anti-Jewish because they see how the news misdirects us, and unfortunately, when you're under 18, you just, you don't, it's the acting out. Like I've done stupid shit my entire life, even up until my fucking 30s.
He still does it.
I still do it. So, am I shocked that this happened? Not at all. Yep. Look what just happened in Manchester, right? With the school. Didn't they papered the school up or something like that, and they covered the school up with all kinds of stuff?
Well, Manchester was the same thing. They put a for sale sign on the sign. There was actually swastikas and shit drawn on the school.
It wasn't adults doing that.
No, it was kids doing it. But you look at that. You look at the two different dichotomies there. Jackson, they had it written in a place and they blew it up. It made it to Florida news. And then all of a sudden you have Manchester. It didn't go anywhere. It hit a couple local spots. But it didn't go out. It didn't go out, nationwide.
Well, because Jackson has already had national commercials, against them saying that they're anti-Semites. But my problem is, my point is that when it comes to the Jewish community, there is zero tolerance, right? You could say anything you want about any other community, and it's not going to be on the nightly news. There is zero tolerance. You cannot say anything. And we know that
who owns the fucking media?
Really make laws where if you are anti-Israel, if you do not believe in the politics in Israel, then you are anti-Semitic. And in the future,
Florida
you'll
did
be
that.
charged with that.
Yeah, Florida did
You
that.
know?
Don't you have some type of
Yes.
anti-Semitism law already done in Florida?
They have something. It's not. You can speak about it, but they don't want you. You can't protest or some. They're not enforcing it because I'm still here. You know what I mean?
You know, I gotta. So I think what we all agree on as far as hate wise, and I'm sorry I've been neglecting the comments tonight. There is a lot going on. I'm trying to change windows and manage the show and all this stuff, but I think we all agree on that. You know, I think hate's more learned. I think some of it's taught, but I do think it's more learned from
For
experience.
sure.
And I think we're all leaning on that. So let me ask you guys a serious question, like. Because, you know, one of the things that bothers me, or one of the things that's asked about all the time, is what can we do about it? So what do you think solutions or possible solutions to this problem are? And Conservative Willy, I want you to hit this first, right? What do you think for this younger generation that has this hate building up, and not necessarily, you know, an Ocean County issue? What are some possible solutions to help kids out? You know, for whatever you're dealing with. What do you think?
I think you just need to start listening to what we're telling you, listen to how we're feeling. You know what I'm saying? It gets exhausting talking about things and then nothing ever being done with it. Just like right now in this country, you got Fauci pleading the fifth, and then fucking nothing's gonna happen to the guy. What we're tired of seeing is no one being held accountable for anything that they do. You have an entire system of people in Jersey that are draining the system that wasn't even meant for that. Okay, when you're not paying back into something that you're taking from, it's going to run dry. And then what happens? It goes to the county over, and then it goes to this county, and they start taking that money. And it's just, what do you want us to do? What can we do except for just speak about it? But then when you speak about it, you're labeled an anti-Semite or a Nazi or this or that. Fuck you. We don't care anymore. Call us whatever you want. We're not going anywhere. I can promise you that.
I wish I had you on the big screen when you said, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. You want me to do it again?
Yes, and do it again.
Fuck you. We're not going anywhere.
I think that's a lot. That's a lot that has to do with you know, it's not just in New Jersey, it's everywhere. These young adults from like 17 and up to like, you know, 30, 35, they can't afford anything. They can't buy a house. And it's worse in Jersey. They can't afford anything. They can't buy a house. They can't start a family. Like, I remember, like, just in Bricktown, like, you would go out and you'd see one pregnant lady a day or some toddlers. You're lucky if you see that once a week now.
I mean, do you even have them outside playing? Are they doing anything? What are these kids doing besides sitting in front of a fucking screen all day because they can't afford anything?
You know what's interesting? I'm starting to see more kids out. It's you know, for a long time when my kids were growing up, my kids are, you know, besides my 1-year-old, mine are 21 and 18, right? When they were growing up, I felt like that was when the cell phone era started coming in, and there was a lot of kids on their cell phones. The younger kids that I see, especially now that my streets have been paved, my streets are full of kids. They're outside playing. They're actually doing their thing. I think parents now have had cell phones for a really long time. They realize some of the destructive capability of them. And I think parents are forcing their kids off of devices to get out on the phone. To get outside. I do see, I can tell you in my neighborhood, I see it changing a little bit.
Yeah, but what happens when you're in a cul-de-sac of 10 people and you're the last one standing, right? And you don't have anybody to play with anymore. What happens then?
You're right. She's 100% right. And that's a lot of the neighborhoods now up in Jersey where, you know, you have to go 5 blocks over to find a kid that you can actually talk to that will talk to you.
I mean, it's blatant. I mean, we just growing up, I mean, we're in our 50s and, you know, you just were taught, you smile at people, you're nice to people, you just intermingle with people. It is so blatant. We had the woman come up stand at the council meeting and say, listen, too bad, you know, our kids can't play with your kids because they can't be exposed to what your kids are going to expose our kids to.
When is that okay?
How is that okay?
How is
When
that?
is that? That's terrible.
That's disgusting.
What if I
said,
said what if I said my kids are not playing with black kids?
Right.
My kids are not playing with Mexican kids. My kids are not playing with.
But now you're not fitting their narrative.
But no,
that's the problem.
It's
you
not
know,
okay.
you have this set on multiple platforms, and the thing is, like, this isn't, you know, a solution that I like is, you know, if you're going to be a good neighbor, you got to be a good neighbor. You got to be part of a community. The solution has to be one community based, right? But the point is, you have these people have said this on multiple platforms in multiple areas. Richie Roberts was on Tyler's show saying, defending it. Well, listen, our kids, you know, you look at these households, they got the gays there, you know, you can't have them being, you know, all of secular society is gay. We don't want them secular gay values. And if our kids are there, they're going to see it. Then they might, God forbid, you give them a non-kosher food or blah, blah, blah. And they, you know, we have totally different values. They defend the fact that they want their kids nowhere near you.
Right.
So I look at it as that has to be like,
and wait, he went even further to say, when Tyler said to him, well, what if a Muslim family moved in next year? Would you want? No, absolutely not.
You know, the whole Muslim Israel thing right now and what's going on in the climate. We actually just had a conversation and an interview about that with, you know, you got your Muslims and you got your Jews. And unfortunately, you know, the news media is making people hate Muslims, and there are good Muslims and there are good Jewish people. And, you know, what's going on in Israel and what's going on across seas, and it's national news, it's all over the news. So these kids see it everywhere, you know, and especially online with the rhetoric online. You know, the only thing I could tell parents is you got to try and explain to them that, you know, what's going on, especially in New Jersey with Lakewood and Jackson, like, that's not all Jewish people. That's not all Muslim people. But segregating yourself, I thought, was a bad thing in this country. I thought segregation was something that we stopped, Mike.
Our kids are living it. Our kids are living it every single day. They're dealing with it every single day, whether it's in a grocery store, in a play place, no matter where they go in their own neighborhoods, they are being segregated. They are being shunned because they are not of a particular religion.
And then you wonder why they act out. You wonder why they're doing all this crap. You wonder why they're you know, unfortunately, where we stand in this country right now, with Trump and this administration and the way MAGA is, it has been hijacked, and everybody sees it. Everybody's talking about it. And what my opinion, what's going on overseas, it mimics here. You know, if we didn't have guns in this country, do you think things would be different right now in the Northeast with them taking over your land? Do you think that they would stop what they're doing over there, would change the way they handle it here?
Well, there's no fear of retaliation here. That's the problem. I mean, if you want to call it an occupation, it's an occupation, right? It's just
it's a colonization. If you really want to talk
colonization, I agree with that.
No resistance, right? We're not allowed to resist. The only way we can resist is what you see these kids doing, and that's, to them, that's almost as bad as somebody walking in with a bomb strap.
And what do you say about this line? Well, just don't sell.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. Listen, when you see one by one, again, and this was my point, the original people that sold were the people that didn't have to worry about buying another house, right? They had the money to buy. They're like, I'm getting out of here. The first ones that sell, and I've been in this from the beginning, were the ones in the bigger developments, were the houses that right now would sell for $2 million. Those were the first ones to go, right? And then it's just a domino effect from there. Because what happens is all you need is one person to move into your neighborhood. And then that house turns into a house of worship overnight. And you have 30, 40, 50 cars there. You can no longer have your kids riding their bikes outside. Listen, it's a very calculated plan. We know this.
Oh, for sure.
It's a turn.
Sure.
You're going to turn over one neighborhood at a time. And they really have.
And that's the only reason why you move into neighborhoods that you call anti-Semitic.
And you know what? Exactly. But you know what it's called? It was a thing back, in the 20s, and it's actually called, it's called real estate restrictive covenants, right? So now they're not showing to anybody who's not Jewish. You go into the neighborhoods, and if they're all Jewish, I'll give you an example. A very good girlfriend
that
of mine,
happens nonstop.
A very good girlfriend
of
mine just sold her house. She was very kind to her neighbor who was a Jewish man. They landscaped for him. They plowed his snow and everything. The day that she moved out, he ran up to the next neighbor and saw that the neighbor was very upset that they were leaving. And she said, I'm so upset. He's like, I'm glad they're leaving. he would approach every person that looked at that house, and they were all Jewish, every single person that looked at that house, and he was trying to make his own minion. So if they wanted that house, because let's face it, there's a lot of homes in Jackson being bought for just vacation homes, which is bizarre to me. How are they affording these $1 billion homes for just, spare vacation homes? But the entire town is now just afflicted with these restrictive covenants on who's going to buy, because they're not being shown. So when one person leaves, they see the writing on the wall, because the person that leaves, their house is not going to go to a Gentile. And then you have no other choice. And listen, I feel so bad for people that have young kids right now in the school system, because it's getting destroyed. It's getting destroyed. And how are you going to raise kids when they have no extracurriculars? They have no plays. They have no schools to go to anymore. I mean,
and then you have no restaurants, and your bar closes down, and then every
you can't ride your dirt bikes. You can't go play football on a field because the gates are locked. You can't. They created a situation where these kids don't have an outlet, and we all know what idle hands do, right? We all were kids. We all got in trouble. We all did dumb shit, and especially if I knew I was under 18, I'm not going to jail for this. And it's a statement, and whether I agree or I don't agree with what they did in the school, it for sure is a statement that people need to understand that the kids are at a point now where they're like, fuck this.
They shouldn't be demonized, right? They should be sympathized with. Because when you get
I mean, the sympathy, I listen, I speak up about stuff. Everybody in this room speaks up about that. But, doing what they did is just, it builds fire for them, and they know this, and that's why they're covering it, because they're looking for the sympathy. They don't want this to happen again. They don't want these kids uprising, and don't get it fucked up. They see it across this country.
Our kids are the victims. I've seen it. I've seen it for 20 years, what these kids are going through, and nobody is talking about it. You are not victim because somebody wrote a swastika on a school that you stole right from underneath our feet. A beloved school that kids went to.
A new school.
Generations. They stole it. And now they're just supposed to
they got a big discount on it. I mean,
right.
Truth, yeah.
Well, it goes with the saying, right? So, and I speak up about this, and we talk about the babies and the birth rate, okay? Besides the moving, nobody's having kids anymore. They're having kids. So, of course, the population is going to go down if the middle class isn't having kids. And they're shutting schools down. It's the same thing that's going on in Lacey. It's the same thing going on across the state. It's happening more in Jackson because their kids don't go to the school. And we're just going to start, like, people need to wake up. Like, if they're closing schools down and they're closing facilities down and programs for these kids, that's what you guys should be fighting for. If you're concerned about things like this happening, keep them busy. I always kept my daughters busy because busy girls aren't pregnant girls. It's the same thing. My kids always had something to do. If these kids don't have something to do, they're gonna do fucked up things. We all did it as kids.
It's the adults that have a problem, right? So, like, what I want to see is, it seems to me like everybody wants to crucify these kids. It seems to me like they're going to charge them with a hate crime, and they're going to throw the book at them, and they're going to do all this shit.
What does that do?
And again, exactly, they got more than Fauci. What does that do? Set an example. Don't write chalk on it. I get it if you want to get them for breaking windows, vandalizing.
Right.
Charge them for all that stuff. But we're going to do hate crime and all this stuff, and it's really just to, like, when you look at that, it's to ruin those kids' life. You're sacrificing those kids for talking points.
Right.
Okay. Instead, we're not talking about, hey guys, what happened with these kids? What can we do to get these kids to where they actually feel like they could be productive members of society? And we don't know if they even think that. We don't even know if this is some bullshit. They were just being jerk offs, having fun, right? Like, I don't listen. Is it fun writing that shit? Yeah. It's doing dumb shit.
Doing dumb shit, right? But you talk about the hate crimes. There's hate crimes that go on every fucking
Dude, we live in
day.
Florida. You think the Spanish people, all of them like us?
You
Come
know,
on.
right? So there's hate crimes that go on everywhere, right? We have the people getting knocked out, and the white women getting knocked out in New York. The hate crime on just on the internet, the amount of off-white people that will trash white people, and that's okay.
Of course.
And unfortunately, we are the only race that's supposed to take it, but we're not allowed to give it back. And that's the rhetoric, and these kids are onto that shit, man.
Yeah, Edward said they keep poking the bear until the bear fights back, and then when the bear fights back, they call the bear racist.
It's so true. But you want to talk about
It's a black bear, motherfucker. Sorry, go ahead.
Unfortunately, there's not a solution here. You want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they will never change from what they are now. They will never assimilate. They've already admitted they won't assimilate. I've been to town council meetings, obviously a vocal person, and I have had men come up to me, "Oh, you hate Jews? Oh, my watch is worth more than your house. Why are you fighting the Jews? We're going to take your whole town."
Who's that fucking rabbi? Who's that rabbi that's always begging for fucking money?
You want
He's got a Rolex on with some Gucci fucking flip-flops and his Prada.
Willy, that fucking idiot. He sells porn.
Dude.
He sells
Willy?
I think his daughter sells
Daughter
dildos.
does,
He reminds me of Bernie.
She sells dildos.
Like Bernie Sanders.
And you know what? I want to bring up a point, Mike. We talk about the perversion in this country, right? And they don't want their kids playing with the gay kids. They don't want their kids playing with the Muslims. They don't want right? But do you know where the biggest LGBT community is in this world?
Israel.
I thought Lakewood was the new Israel, according to their signs.
So why aren't they accepting of it? And the fact of the matter is, and this whole story, it all boils down to one thing. The racism, the segregation we've been through in this country. And if these kids are hearing it from their parents, there's a reason why they're hearing it from their parents.
I don't think they have to. They see it. They don't need to.
Well, right, Jenna, they do see it. But my point is, we've been through that in this country. We all went to school. We were taught it. They shoved it down our fucking throats.
I think history is a lie.
And now we're here.
I think history. I'm with you, dude. I think everything we think we know about history is absolute.
As he says all the time, his story.
Right.
So did we actually get to hear the real story, or are we just hearing his
You teach these kids in public schools. It's all fucking lies.
It's bullshit.
Right? So you go to school, you fail a fucking test. You literally could pick this fucking thing up and get the real answer for something. Like, everything that I learned in history class is fucking bullshit.
Right. But we got to worry about the future, right? So let's talk about what can we do? We throw out the olive branch and we make them an offer they can't refuse. What are they going to do to try to assimilate with our communities?
The only thing we could do is keep calling it out, because one of the things that I know of is everything they do they want in secret, because they don't want you knowing all the horrible ways that they're using your tax money. They're all through the Medicare and Medicaid systems. They do it through the college system.
Yep.
If there's a system that is set up in place for some type of welfare, they will drain the system. I've heard people tell me that there's people making over $200,000 on WIC and on food stamps and on welfare. I'm hearing that because with the enough kids, if you have like 6 kids, they're saying you can make a lot of money and still be approved. It's things like that. We keep talking about solutions. I think it starts with exposure. And then because if the majority of people, they don't know that this is going on in order to get pissed off enough to get people out of there. Number one. Number two, you have to get all of them. This sounds bad. And in Democrat state, I don't know how they're going to do it, because this is what they do. They take advantage of Democrat states because they give out so much of our fucking money. But what you have to do is you have to have welfare reform. You really want to curb this. You get 2 kids on welfare. Everything else you have to pay for. There you go. Your WIC programs.
I think the more that you have, the less you get.
Yeah. You should not be having kids you cannot afford. So you set it at 2, set it at 3, whatever you want. 3 kids on WIC. That's all you get. Boom, right there. I think you have to have serious reform across the board with all the schoolings. You need to check all the schools because a lot of these schools have these ghost students. Now I think that's going on in a major way where they don't actually apply, but they apply for the federal aid and they get the money back. Right? I think you have to have a serious reform issue with that. I think you have to do the thing where if their marriage isn't recognized by the state and they're applying as single people, but they're actually married in their religion, I think we need a major.
Who's going to do that, Mike? What politician in New Jersey is going to stand up for the people in New Jersey?
I'm not saying they're going to do it.
It's not going to happen, unfortunately. I love the idea, but you can't even get a politician to talk about it.
No, you can't.
Let alone make a bill for it.
But it's still a solution. It
is a solution. It is. And I like I said, I agree with you. But until the people in the middle class come out and vote in droves and put the right people in office that are willing to speak about it, like you, what's going to change? Who's going to change it? Paul?
No, there's no way in hell he's looking for that vote when he goes to congressman.
Right. So you have to cater to the Jews to
anything in Ocean County.
Advance politically in New Jersey.
And
that's that simple.
Illegal.
And the flip side is, and Nick, we had discussed this. We were kind of going to do like an anti-APAC kind of page. The flip side to that was the anti-APAC. You have a lot of radical Muslims, right?
Yeah, that's where democratic socialism slips right the fuck in.
Look what just happened with fucking.
Look at Michigan.
Look at Michigan. What's his name? Al Said. So now you got Michigan, then New York. It's happening all over the country because the Muslims have the balls to talk about the Jews.
They're working together.
You white people are scared to fucking death.
Yeah,
okay, so this is clearly what we have to have.
But there's some radicals. I mean, we socialism.
This is clearly what we need. We need our own religion.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I told you the
we
spaghetti
have to do
monster.
it.
Can we not fight in wars in our religion?
We could do everything in our religion. That's the best part about my religion. I was going to call it Caltropianism.
Caltropian?
Is that based off Christian or Catholic?
No. It's a non-denominational Christian, Muslim, Jewish.
Just wait until they start doing a draft.
Yeah.
Right? And they fucking draft your kids and your relatives to go fight a fucking war for another country. But the people of Lakewood, you think they're going to get drafted?
No, they're not even.
I don't see Israel sending troops in whenever we come to save them.
Well, they don't fight. They don't.
Have you seen that? Exactly. They're a lot of the Orthodox in Israel are fleeing. There. They're coming here. They're actually staying in all the illegal basement or some of the illegal basements in Lakewood. But the Orthodox are fighting Israel because they're anti-war. A lot of them are anti-Zionist. Like a lot of them.
Yes.
Yes. So
people don't realize
shit,
that.
If I go there, they spit on me. So I mean, like, what are they? Where's the winning? Where does this fucking end? Someone.
No way.
Anyway.
No end, and there may not be a winning game, but I know what I'm going to do. Like, I got to tell you something. When people say something can't happen, like we're fucked or something like that, I got to be honest with you. When we started talking, we started getting things in our favor. It didn't take a lot of us to make a difference, right? And now
it doesn't.
When I say we got to start our own religion, we have to have a group of people like-minded, like us, that are pushing in the same direction. And locally, you have to get away from your right and left thing. You have to pull for what's right for your town. Fuck the right and left dichotomy or R&D or whatever it is. But these to me are real solutions. Getting involved, like you think about it, getting involved. People of New Jersey, people of Brick, Manchester, Toms River, you guys had some wins. Howell had a big win, right? You guys have had some big wins when you go out and you voice your concern, and then when you start voicing it loud enough and you get loud enough, it can happen, right? I am a believer. Like, if we want it to happen and we unite, we could do whatever we want. It really doesn't matter. If we stay together as a solitary unit, that's what has to happen. But the media is very good at getting us very, very divided. And I see it. Like, one guy was following me. He loved all of my local stuff. It was like my biggest cheerleader. And then all of a sudden he hears that I was there January 6th and I voted for Trump 3 times. Now anything I post, even if it's pro our area that he used to agree with, now he's trying to motherfuck me. It's very funny. But let's do this. We are over our time here, man. We have a big chat. Do me a favor, guys. Right now we have a big chat. I expect all over 100 of you guys to finger my like button at the exact same time. Give me massive fingering, and I want it fucking hard. It's a Friday night. Finger the fuck out of that fucking like button, and then take your little pinky, give me a shocker, right? You fucking finger the like button, and then you shock this shit out of that share button, and that's how you help us get out. Listen, the God's honest truth, man. I think every one of us in this room, like Jenna, myself, Nick Colton, Mr. Fit Nick, or fucking, you guys fucking me up with the Nick and Colton.
You can just call me Nick. You know me.
I was looking at Conservative Willy, and I was like, Nick, because I was looking at you, and then I was reading at the same time. But we all benefited from you guys liking our stuff, sharing our stuff. And it's not really, I don't get paid. I don't get paid off of this. It's funny when they say you're doing this for clicks. It's like, what are these clips going to mean?
Yeah, what do these clicks mean?
Sense. It's like I make about $112 from Facebook last month. Yeah.
Damn.
Really, really appreciate it. But
He's rolling in the money.
But you know what? Getting the word out there, sharing this, getting the message out, having the conversation, opening up the conversation. And I'm going to say this really quick. This conversation's been open tonight. You hear our side of the story. You hear their side of the story. You hear the kids' side of the story. You hear what we have and what everybody in our area is fighting for. And I give this offer to everybody. I have been respectful to all of you people. Every one of you I have been respectful to completely. I had Morty here sitting in my backyard, very respectful to him, me, my entire family. He was on the show. I was very respectful for him when he was on the show. If you guys don't want to have this conversation, then stop asking for it. How about this? Let's close it out. Jenna, let's final words. What do you think?
So I'm going to put out a challenge there. And being that we do have an Orthodox as our council president in Jackson, I'm going to put a challenge out to you, Morty. I want to see you try to bring the communities together, not this multicultural bullshit. I want to see you challenge the non-Jewish kids to a basketball game. I want to see you on the court. I want to see you trying to bring these kids together. I want to make it happen.
I love that. I love that. What about you guys? Nick, the Nick and Colton show, Conservative Willy, Mr. Fit Nick. What do you think? Close it out.
So I'll close it out with this. Down in Florida, what me and Colton have done in the last 4 months helped change the politics just down in Southwest Florida by speaking up. And, we do the interviews and we get people to know what's going on. You guys all want change. You have to do it yourselves. The government's not going to help. And if you don't want to do it, sell.
The only way you're going to be able to change anything is if you get involved locally.
Yeah, it's locally, right? I talk about this all the time. Everybody voted Trump in thinking Trump was going to fix everything. You have to build the base of the pyramid. Yeah. You have to put the right people in office to keep the invasion away.
And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, fucking primary.
Yep.
Get them out.
Tell them where they can find you guys.
So the Nick and Colton show across all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, myself, Mr. Fit Nick.
Conservative Willy.
On all platforms also.
Awesome. Fucking absolutely love it. Hey, guys, listen, really appreciate you joining us tonight. Really appreciate you joining us tonight. I want to put myself on the main screen tonight. I tell you guys to do this all the time. You have to be a caltrop in your own mind, everybody. You have to be your own defense mechanism. And if you want things to change in your world, be a defense mechanism for yourself. Learn these things, have these conversations, but better yet, everybody talking about it. They can't fire everybody. And if we're all doing it and we're all together in what we're doing, there's something we have to learn. We have to learn from these communities. These communities are strong because they are tight. They are a monolithic group of people that move in the exact same direction. We have to be a diverse group of people that move in the exact same direction. That's what caltrops do. The way you defend yourself from people that are trying to ruin your way of life, you have to be a solitary unit. You have to come together, and that's just the bottom line. I really appreciate every one of you guys tonight. I really appreciate you joining me. Everybody fingering the fuck out of my like button, sharing this. Do me a favor, when we get those clips, share these clips the same way. I want you to have a great weekend, and I will be back Monday morning or Monday night, 8 p.m. Really appreciate you guys. This caltrop is out. Later.
So